running, but currently it's limited to the metadata. So it's a metadata exchange with the links then down to the repositories.
In Express or Exchange?
No, I don't. Until we have a better way, and I think this is the biggest challenge that you did not mention, a better way to query data set and compare data sets. Until then, I don't think it makes sense to duplicate data sets from the workbench. Because it would only make sense if by integrating those data sets, you get a better query options by, being able to compare results from different studies.
Okay.
Say, different Alzheimer's studies.
Yeah.
Do they have they similar outcomes or not, right? And we're certainly not there yet.
No.
That's a huge challenge, to be honest.
Interesting. Yeah.
If I then come back to the idea of duplication, sometimes duplication is not a true duplication. For instance, for NMR, we can have one compound and two different solvents. So in both cases, I think duplication is useful. The true one and the similarity is to be checked as well.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'll just make some notes here.
I do have a question though.
Yeah.
Do you have successful use cases, maybe, how the metabolites repository can be used and finding knowledge that was not mentioned by the authors?
You have a comment, Reza?
It's a very difficult. I'm Reza. It's a very difficult question. It's there isn't enough data sets there to generate a new knowledge because there are not many overlapping results. People can go and, for example, there's use cases. Is some person tried different data sets using different scaling? Is it sound clear?
Can you hear what you're saying, Oliver?
It was interrupted. I could not hear everything. It was really interrupted what Reza was saying.
Sorry.
Closer to that result.
Yeah.
I guess I was typing at the same time. That probably broke it. Sorry.
Come closer to the microphone. So back to the use cases. To generate if the aim is to generate new knowledge, again, as you mentioned, is not enough data. It's a huge challenge. The use cases that people have used it, actually, for example, the ones that I know of, they use to try different scaling methods or trying different normalization across different data sets. It hasn't generated new knowledge, but it's for you to test different normalization scaling methods. There is another use of resources is by a chap in Denmark. He used to test and try his routine for predicting retention times across different data sets. So it's kind of still not a very unique new knowledge, but a way to be able to test retention indices essentially across different. And when I look at it, it was interesting that without him knowing that the data sets are related, because he just tried different data sets and I knew the data sets were related, it would be very nice to see the two data separate IDs actually clustered nicely based on his routine. So this is as far as I can think of. I'm sure there is another use case of the data sets, but still to generate new knowledge, I think is, again, challenging, as you said.
Chris, what is your vision here right now, or your take so far on challenges, or is it a common view that you share with Ken, which was presented?
Sorry, I had to unmute. Well, I mean, we have of course coordinated what we presented in this SAP meeting, and I think the really interesting part comes when we let's say, multiply our current data content by factor 10 or factor 100. And then we suddenly have, let's say, 200 or 1,000 studies on humans in a particular, under a particular condition and for a particular disease. And then the real challenges start in terms of discoverability, comparability of conditions. But those are really then completely new research projects, if you wish. And of course, I guess both you guys over there at the NIH project as well as us are writing ground proposals to attack these kind of problems.
I'm not so sure about that. We will do this successfully. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence.
Very good. Yes.
I think the ability to compare across studies is depending on standards, like for example internal standards, or even using similar platforms. So we have conducted a ring trial and waiting for this to be released in terms of actually 2 ring trials, whether or not at least the same samples were comparable between studies. One is the lipidomics by the NIST, and one was the NIH ring trial. And I'm not very optimistic on that. So what does that mean for study repositories? If we can't even compare things that are identical easily, does that mean, we will be better able to compare things once we have 100 studies, and those 100 studies were done on 20 different platforms? And how do we compare those? It's really something that I'm not clear about.
Yeah.
Maybe we can only compare the statistical outcomes of each study or so.
Yeah, we had similar discussions last week, and I keep coming back to the term chicken and egg problem. I think we will only know the answer to your question if we collect data and then do research on data analysis. If you don't collect, you'll never learn the answer to your study. I'm pretty sure that like in microarrays and in other omics areas, we prepare to throw away some of the early data that we picked. Well, we keep them, but people will quickly learn that it's hopeless to analyze them.
Yeah. So does this mean we need only to accept absolute quantifications and forget about this large omics semi-quantification?
No, I think both are useful, but in some cases we will reanalyze several experiments for absolute quantification and generate information. I think so. We are trying to do this, and but it's I think it's 2 complementary approaches. We need to do both.
I have another example from proteomics. So proteomics being about 10 years ahead. My voice. So they recently managed to do such new knowledge discovery using existing data. Partly they learned a lot of stuff from experience and being ahead of the curve. So, but the fact that they just now are starting to generate high-profile publications using existing data shows that it is possible. I mean, I'm sure they have equally challenging from proteomics field point of view in terms of quantitative of proteomics versus semi-quantitative or qualitative, but they actually have done it, and there's example publications of it.
Okay, here's an idea. Why don't you download or do a meta study and publish it, actually, about what happens if you download the studies that are publicly available from the workbench, the NIH workbench, and find ways, or try to find ways how you can query them, how comparable they are, even from the metadata aspect, from the data aspect. And maybe there's even a study where, one study at your repository and one at the NIH would share similarities either on the organism or on the treatments. So that you can say, yeah, this is how we envision the future. That would be something for a scientist, obviously, not for the coding team. But just to walk the first baby steps before we dream about jumping and running and whatnot.
It is, in a way, we keep tracking of the metadata that are produced, but it needs probably time to sit down. I guess maybe it's good to aim for the end of September NIH meeting to see if there's any metadata that shares, because we are trying to do it interoperable. So meaning a data set from a tablet to be uploaded there and vice versa, and that opportunity is good to try and see if there is such a data set. And then there will be a lot of challenges, but
the NIH is very interested in receiving comments on usability of the workbench. It is, however, very, very hard to make any critical comment while the NIH officers are in the room. Right? So if you want an honest discussion, I think it's better to do it on Google Hangout or any other way. Because, when the NIH is not online, I mean, that is critical, because they are the funding agencies, and they, we can't say, oh, this tool is not working, or that tool is not working, or you collect the wrong metadata, or so, while the officers are.
Right. That wasn't intended to do that. This is in front of everyone, obviously, because we have the simulation. More than.
Perhaps just a quick comment on that. On the other side, this is not something that other databases don't do already, like AliExpress already pulls subset of relevant data from Geo, they're annotating it so that it's searchable in the context of AliExpress, and they enrich it with metadata. So, perhaps that would be a way to do it if you were to find useful data sets. But I want to say something else, because I think your initial question also, Ken, was, what should we do, any other suggestion, etc. And I wonder, it's good to ask a question in an advisory board, but do you, for example, have run survey with your existing user or prospective users, or users, or researcher which are not your user, to see actually what they will do, what they would like to have your database to do, which functionality they would like to prioritize, and etc. They've done this kind of search, and gathering from the community to prioritize your work.
Yeah. Looks like I'm unmuted now.
You are unmuted, yeah.
I'm unmuted. Okay, good. We did this a few years ago, but no, you're right. We haven't done this again lately. We did a big workshop, 2 of them, but this was during the first grant round. So maybe it's time we do another usability test and have another workshop to find out if we are on the right track in terms of the end users. Yeah, that's good advice. Thanks.
But not just usability, it's what else they would like to see that they don't have, or other tools that have functionality that they would like to see in your system. Yeah,
that's good. Thank you.
Maybe this could be combined in terms of functionality with the phenomenal project.
Yeah. Good idea. Mm. So I guess then we can ask questions like, is there anything good in the metabolomics workbench we haven't implemented? So, okay, I didn't mean is there anything good. There's lots of good, but it's the things that we can implement as well, which will make it easier.
Yeah. I don't. I cannot comment on whether or not there's anything good there. It clearly has less history than Metabolites has, and I think it's less advanced. On the other hand, I would rather like to encourage you to check out what you see there, what you may like, or what you may not like, and just tell that to Shankar and Owen.
Yeah.
So that they can improve it, I think.
Okay.
Also, an overview of this MedExpress metadata, even if it's just the metadata that are shared, showing that how many studies are there and how they overlap and what are the platforms being used, what are the organisms studied, what are the, that would be very valuable for future grant applications. It shows the growth as well. But it shows the growth better than it shows it in terabytes of data.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we want to learn biology from it, and that means we need to see growth in biology and in the metadata section. So the MedExpress might be a good way to do so.
Yeah. So we quite frequently try to so to speak sell the Metabolome Exchange when we do presentations and stuff. So is it not being pushed much by Shankar and his team?
Shankar was, for example, not in the San Francisco conference. I don't think that Shankar is really interested in this enterprise. Owen is, Don is. So the team, Ilango is, so the team is very much behind it, but for Shankar, I'm not so sure.
Okay. Okay. So.
We're really more interested in systems biology, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I have just a small comment. But for it to work in that level of cross comparison between different data sets across different resources, it needs to be both all repositories that are part of the Metabolome Exchange follow the same metadata reporting. So people can discover, for example, they need to say, for example, what species it is. So something obvious as species are there, but if you want to go into more details to be able to find the right one, you need to have more detailed technical metadata shared or captured that goes into Metabolome Exchange, then it makes it easier, because you probably, if you put species, you get a lot of hits, as an example shown here, but you need to have more details metadata. I think this is the only issue I see, that it would be good to have this template that was proposed in Metabolome Exchange for the repository to comply, and it's not too demanding, but it's key for making it more discoverable.
Mm. Yeah.
So along the same line, would there be a benefit of creating a curation policy documents that would be common to all the different repositories? So at least outlining the kind of problem you face and the kind of options you adopted to fix them. Of course, it relates to which lines you may enforce, but at least you could provide a common core of practices and maybe possibly scripts or tooling that would help the curation of the submissions each repository is getting.
So is your question about cross the repositories? Not
yes.
That. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we don't all have different reporting standards or requirements. Yeah, it could be quite difficult. Yeah, so
it doesn't to be one go, just gradually at least these documents are completely in the open, and people can comment and see, understand the kind of task you're performing on the other side of the fence. Because people have the feeling that if they just dump data, that's it, things happen. When they don't have a clear understanding, maybe, of what the kind of work you need to do and why you do this.
Yeah, I think in proteomics, this is slightly guided through Proteome Exchange, isn't it? So they're using that as the neutral entry point for data submissions, but then obviously each repository has its own requirements and its own reporting standards. But maybe we could use Metabolome Exchange as a vehicle to make this happen. But this would be challenging. This would be very challenging.
It's a political challenge or a technical challenge. Technically, I think it could be done, but to agree that doing any with Proteome Exchange, the only thing I want to add is that it has a lot more power. So the accession numbers are actually issued by Proteome Exchange. So individual repositories don't issue an accession number anymore, while this is not the case for Metabolome Exchange. And it's sort of a strong consortium to apply. And once you're there, you get a membership. And you have to have a certain compliance with the checklist, and then you get it. And that checklist essentially is a checklist to say, this is the guide to report the metadata. And this is as far as I understood.
Can you elaborate on how you want to simplify, I think you said, the metadata upload through the ISA tabs, I assume?
Yeah. So at the moment, we kind of present the users with all the possible columns that can be filled in one go. So it could be a bit, for a first-time submitter, it could be a bit daunting, a bit overwhelming to see all the information in one go. And also we feel that if we guide through a few steps, so we ask some leading questions which would then structure the ISAT files underneath. So this is, I think, Felipe, you're giving this quite some thought. I don't know if you have a better explanation than what I just gave.
Yeah, so one of the ideas would be this is maybe the way I'd like to pursue the phenomenon as well, and on the API, would be to ask a few questions about the experimental design and then drive the innovation. So there would be a refocus on presenting the information as well in a more meaningful way around comparison across the sets, like asking what is the size of the study almost immediately available to users. But also to ask the more directed submission, like a few questions as to kind of investigation you're carrying out, motivation on intervention, and then proceed like this and funnel all this information and create a template out of these few questions that you and so we've tested that internally. It works very well, but of course there is still a kind of learning curve for the user because they have to be acquainted to the process, and we don't want to develop a paperclip again. So
yeah,
that would be annoying for users who have a very different kind of designs.
Yeah, and also to add on there, the idea is we shouldn't ask for metadata we can parse out of an open source file. For instance, if you have an MZML file, then don't ask for information we can suck out of that file, because that just annoys people.
And that's an ongoing project as well. So with Birmingham University, there are actually reading the XML files and creating the assay file automatically. So I guess combination of those things will lower the barrier of capturing and enriches it. If it's automated, it would be a lot more than just manual. It's always slow, and you know all about it anyway.
If I can make a comment, if the final objective so that a biologist can upload alone, or is the need of a bioinformatician will remain, and it was the case up to now?
You mean in terms of the study capture and study submission, yeah? No,
yeah.
the goal is that the biologists can be easily guided through this process without the need of having a technical person there to make it happen. Yeah, of course, that's the goal, absolutely.
It's quite difficult because we don't do it every week.
No.
Okay, so it's quite difficult for a biologist.
Yeah, and we also have now more. We now are harmonizing all the data we already have, which means that it's easier to come up with, say, a gold template for this. So if you have this particular GCMS experiment, then you can download this template and start to tweak that instead of starting from scratch each time. So just lowering the burden, and also the Aspera client, you can then point it to a directory, and individually all the files will be transferred for you instead of now we pack them all together into one big archive first. So just small little things that we hope will speed up the submission process. And we have also changed the system now so that you can upload files individually. So you can gradually build up your study. You don't need to submit it all in one go. And you can, we can now promote the status of the study up and down quite easily, and which is very now transparent to the users. So this is the new change we're coming in with next month.
Yeah, it's very important so that even small labs where there is no bioinformatician can do it easily.
Yeah. So, but also for the larger labs, we are developing an API that should enable this submission. So using both the Aspera technology and the new IsoPad API to facilitate links to metabolite file submission. But obviously on that side, you need a bioinformatician or somebody technical to do the initial mapping from the local data structure to the final data structure. Okay. Are there any other concerns we want to discuss in this room?
I would like to go back to curation.
Yeah.
So can you say a little more, and what do you expect from the users themselves, and what you're doing on your side?
Yes, so we have currently released a new set of our submission guidelines. We have split it up so that it's more focused on the specific techniques that are being used. So in the past, we had one large document that had NMR, MS, GCMS, LCMS, everything bundled together. Now we separated it. We have written brand new documentation. I mean, now much more guiding step by step the user through the process. Thanks, Chris. And what we are trying to do is to make it easier to reuse the data and to make it easier to analyze the data. We try to capture the same minimum metadata. So this goes also back to the MSI work, that we should try to align the metadata for all the studies for the same technology, and this will then hopefully make it easier for us and others to run analysis on when we get large amounts of data sets. Whereas a lot in the beginning we accepted lots of different studies of different standards and different quality, because once we were learning as well, and so it was a matter of we didn't want to turn people away, and we kind of guided them a bit. Whereas now we have the curation manpower to help each individual submitter if they do want so, and we will also then double check all the submissions that come to us. And one of the ways we are making it easier for the submitter is we have a study validation page, which will make it clearer to the submitters what we are looking for, and you will get a green tick or a red X based on these different checks, and that kind of can give a compliance score or a quality score. And this is a mechanism we hope we can also extend to more into the the MSI recommendations that many of you wrote. So that's a good. We feel that's a good tool.
Yeah. It's a indicative of completeness of metadata reported, and that's it. It's like imagine a bar chart, like a full tank to half full tank, or more metadata is reported according to some guideline. There are a lot of exceptions, obviously, there, because it's very difficult to fit in all different study design into a rigid framework or a standard. But it will be a guide, and usually people like this. If there's some number, they usually like to have a better number and higher. It's sort of incentive to share metadata. Yeah. But on the same line, I have another question. If there's not, I want to ask a question from Oliver and Ethan, Susanna, or anyone else, about data analysis pipeline. At the moment, what is mostly happening is a metabolysis at the end of a research. So you've done your research, and you sharing your data either willingly or ask for a journal to do it. If you invest in a lot of the analysis tools, that will kind of changes this model or adds to this model. That's this sort of incentive of a carrot. How do you see this thing, generally analysis tools fitting in the framework of submitting data or sharing data? Because, for example, NIH has plenty of analysis tools embedded in Workbench, but I wonder how many people will use it or not.
I think nobody uses it. This is the biggest concern of the NIH, not only the upload and storage, but also that the community actually actively uses it. And for that, I don't think they have time to do surveys. What people really want from such data sets, who would look at the data sets, and who would use then the data analysis tools. The NIH always said that it's very important to them, but I don't think we know what users would like to do. I can only say what I would like to do. But again, maybe every lab is different, right? But I don't think a cardiovascular researcher or a mouse biochemist who's looking at a liver transporter would try to go into the repository, find the same transporter, then find the data set, and then use the online statistical tool to see if he learns anything. I don't think so. But that maybe remains to be seen. Metaboanalysis, however, is very successful in the sense of that people can use their own data and just look for statistics in metaboanalysis. And actually, we teach it. So in our course, we use metaboanalysis too. Which basically then amplifies the reach for such kind of tool. So more like a standalone in this case, but because people use their own data rather than data from a repository.
Yeah. But that's one of the ideas with these metabolite labs, is that you typically for smaller labs or individuals that don't have either the resources or the manpower to run these tools locally, you can upload your own data and run MetaboAnalyst and have XMS and other tools on it, and then from that point on you decide if you want to throw this away or if this is of value to others.
Okay, so maybe I should make a comment here. I think XCMS is the worst tool that is available at this point in time. I do not encourage you guys to use XCMS. We did comparisons. Nobody in my lab would ever touch it because it has so many frequent false positives. And it's really behind the current standard in data processing.
Okay.
Secondly, when we do our courses, and we've now done the 5th course, I think we are just, starting the 6th course in 3 weeks or so. When we do these courses, we get a feeling of what the community wants. They all want data analysis. They all want data processing, and they have no clue. They really are clueless, and that's why they go to the course. So now you could say, well, instead of a course, you could go just to the website and the labs, the metabolite labs, online. And but that's not enough. They really need a lot of time to grasp concepts about data processing. And after the end of the 2-week course, they kind of start to get a glimpse, I hope. At least our participants usually are fairly happy afterwards. But they really need the time. It's not just it would not be a tutorial that you put on the website. And it's not just putting out the tools and hope that people will find and use them. It's really they lack the understanding. And this is from across the board, from professors. We have lots of professors coming, but also lots of grad students and postdocs. And it's across the world. We have, people from China and from Singapore and whatnot. And they really need these courses. That's what we feel. That's why we think just the making tools available is not enough.
No, I agree that there's a lot of things to learn from different areas, different aspects on data analysis is not a trivial task. But this intrigued my question from what you said in your lab that you nobody uses XCMS. What do you compare XCMS to? What are the tools that you?
Oh, okay. So, well, we usually use MS-DIAL, of course. We use MZ9, of course. And we do use also software from companies. Specifically, of course, the Agilent software, which has greatly improved over the last years. So I think XCMS was fantastic a couple of years ago, but they have done improvements, simply put, and the other software have made improvements and now are far superior. I think we had a couple of posters. We didn't really publish a paper on it because it's so hard to do honest comparisons, and if you do this in the paper, then some people are pissed and whatnot because you may have used the wrong parameters or whatnot. People complain. But since we have done it several times with several people, we got a very good feeling that the XCMS is just having too many flaws and false positive results. And again, also the data combination of the MDMS, MDRT features, they need to be combined. Some people call deconvoluted, I would say combined, into much leaner data sets. And this is available in many software tools today. And with MS-DIAL, of course, you also have the associated and deconvoluted MSMS spectrum, which is helpful. Not that it's flawless, of course, but it's really helpful. And similarly, the Agilent software has largely improved, I think, over the last year, maybe 2 years. Now, we don't teach company software because it only works on company data and not on the other platform data, which is a big issue, of course. I do understand why Agilent does it, or Dynamo and whatnot. We don't think that this is the right way forward. We think it's the right way forward to use open source and open access software like MD9 or MS-DIAL for that matter.
Okay, I just have a tiny bit. I agree, but the only thing I know that a lot of people use the default parameter in XCMS, and that usually gives you the wrong result. But there are little improvement, for example, for parameter optimization, IPO trying to do it. But again, this is like always a seesaw. There's sometimes up and they go down because lack of time and development. There are new tools and application will come up, but it's kind of always happens.
So I have a comment on your original question, Reza, and also to follow up with Oliver's first answer, which is, there's many tools on these databases and you don't use it. It actually reminds me a lot of, if you remember, Express at the beginning had a special profilers with the tool, which then were kind of phased out because the value was mostly in curating the data, developer curating, in creating the atlas, which is more like spray-curated, categorized group of data that people use. Because it is indeed true that people have their own tool. They might not come to Metabolite for doing analysis, but they come to Metabolite for source of potentially interesting data set they can take and do something else. Or if we were to create like an Express Atlas has done, putting more effort really on creating the content and serving, good content, because the point is users want to do the analysis themselves. And this is true not just for metabolomics. We see in many other domains, but nobody wants to put the effort in serving good curated data rich enough that then you can do the analysis you want. And to me, this is where people come to DBI with. I mean, generally, and you should know better than me, people don't come to DBI to use necessary analysis tool, but to look for good source of data and data sets.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah.
We always think about it, as you said, it's very, very challenging to get high level knowledge of the pathways and visualization in kind of atlas. But it definitely, this is, so for example, we try to little thing to Egon to use the Wikipath and other resources with other people who do. So I would think maybe more emphasis on visualization would be quite nice. We have these things in mind, but it's a very right comment.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
And this goes back to my original point that it's the user who needs to decide where you put most of the effort. But I understand, as a software developer or team that has a software developer, you want to do cool things, like cool tools. Fair enough. And the grants require you to post cool stuff as well. But sometimes, interesting enough, people come to DBI because of the creation effort that is put into serving rich annotated data sets, rather than for the tool or the good feature.
yeah. No, thank you. That's obviously a very good point.
Yeah.
And then also what I'm hearing then is our efforts to include these analysis tools is only useful if people know exactly what they're doing from the outset. It's not something that necessarily can jump in and start to use. Yeah.
And perhaps more than specifically new tools, if you were to have connectors between the data that you serve with the existing and mostly used analysis tool, that will help to utilize your data. Which of course, I mean, here we're talking about features that make your data more useful. It doesn't mean that they attract more submission. I think unfortunately these are the two sides of the coin that requires different type of carrots.
Yeah, yeah. No, very good points. Thank you. So, are there any? Well, I think this has been very enlightening, and a bit disheartening on the data analysis side, maybe.
No, we still need to do this for a phenomenal other project, but it will be specialized, so they will be used for it.
Yeah.
As a general public tool, maybe this is what I'm repeating what he said. Still is a valid thing to do, but how it's being used as a community that will evolve itself, and that probably will ideally work by a specialized community would be better. But then you can't limit it, so anyone can do it, and it's up to them to do whatever the tools and workflows are. But we will see.
So, yeah, Susanna, so a cozy cup. So data quality, curation still important, visualization still important, and focus there. Keep working on everything that can make the data submission easier. here that is important. Exchanging data. Also, maybe we should focus more on getting other data, like existing libraries in, to back to Oliver's point of exchanging and duplication.
You said the last comment as well, which I forgot. Sorry.
Yes, as you know, we're working on getting more data, especially biocrisis data, published in PLOS, for instance. And
yeah,
do you think there is room for engaging even further with maybe that particular journal, for instance, to make sure that in a way Metabolite becomes the place where people deposit the data, or at least notify very early in the submission process? And who should we, who Metabolite should be talking to facilitate that or engage tighter?
Okay.
Instead of having a question, turn it in an advice.
Right,
Yes. You should look in engaging more with journal.
Yeah.
Organize.
So would us having tools that the reviewers can so the reviewers can use to verify that all the submissions are to the standards that the journals would expect. I guess tools that the reviewers can use would probably help as well in terms of the journals.
Another way would be, especially for PLOS One, where you have access to the, well, maybe it's a posteriori, but the full XML of the paper, to try to extract some information from it and populate stubs
Yeah.
or the submission.
From the paper, you said?
Yeah.
You said from the paper?
The XML.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
I think I'm trying to make a short question because you brought this up.
Again, I really want to make my comment in the sense that you don't want to spend too much time rescuing all data sets versus spending time gathering very new, better data sets. So it has to be, it's just a comment on, I guess, on the science.
But somehow, if I can make three comments also put in a broader context, this is also part of adding journal editor to your survey. Or not necessarily survey, but consider them potential users / collaborators, and and start talking to the one, not just with scientific data, which of course is already endorsing you, but start talking with more, because all of them are more keen to better represent data along with application. So I think you should add them along with the stakeholders that you should closely engage to understand what functionality will they benefit from.
Yeah.
You should invite
Nice. Yeah, good idea.
scientific data as well.
Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
But generally, I was going to say the biocritic system is a good system. It's, at least on paper, is quantifiable, comparable. It's a nice data set. It's automated, so there's the upload and submission sharing is easier. So it's a very right model paper. That's someday maybe a lot of things become easier in a 5 years projection time of a visual thinking. But we'll see.
Okay, well, unless there are any other comments, we are very happy that you could take time and talk to us and advise us and also tell us where we're going wrong. So thank you very much for your time. We have recorded the sound of this and we made some notes. So we'll send out the minutes in a few days. And then you can either comment on those or see if there's things we have forgotten, but hopefully we're able to capture everything. Yeah, do we have any other comments there? No? So thank you everybody. Thank you for taking time to talk to us and see you all soon. Thank you.
Bye.
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 So terminate that one as well.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yes, on the science.
But somehow, if I can make three comments also put in a broader context. This is also part of adding to your survey, or not necessarily survey, but consider the potential users/collaborators, and and start talking to the one